Hello. Today I want to show how to use in the Terraform to create the first create a private subnet and then group and create the security group for LAN and then I will create the key pairs so we can using SSH to remote access to our EC2 instance. After that, I will create the two EC2 instances. One is under our public subnet and another one will under our private subnet. Then I will test the connection. So I will first connect to our instance on the public subnet, and under here I can try to ping to Google, ping 8.8.8.8, so it can go outside, but then I will use it because they are under the send VPC. So by default, they are under the same route table, so they can communicate. So I will SSH from this instance under the public subnet into another EC2 instance under the private subnet. So that's so first so I just copy our main.tf from last demo. From the last demo is create internet gateway, so I just copy from there. So first I will create the private subnet. So we click create private subnet. So in here the private subnet is under our demo VPC, and the site block is 10.0.2.0/24, and we can go back to our public subnet. So the public subnet is 10.0.1.0/24, and under the public subnet it will, if I launch the EC2, it will assign the public IP into the EC2 instance, but in here using the false, so the EC2 instance created under this private subnet, it will not assign the public IP address. And so after that we can create the security group. So let me type create security group, and I want, because later we will using SSH, which is port 22. So I will create for this, because here is just for demo, so we using the same security group, and but just allow the in inbound traffic from 22, and from the IP address is like here is any IP address can access, but need to use in the 22, and doesn't have any rule for the outbound. And I will put the name as Terraform security group. Then if you, I will also mention about the about our documentation in here. Copy paste. So we can come to walk through this documentation. So it TSL for 443, yeah. So it allowed 443, but we using SSH, so which is 22. Yeah. And then we come back to our, after we create a security group, we will create the key pair. So let me walk through the key pair, how to create a key pair. So first we can come to documentation to take a look how to create the key. So first we create a private key. So we will use in RSA. So we can walk through the documentation. So here, okay. I will using this resource TLS private key, and I will make the key name key for the public subnet. Yeah. And after that we need to making the private key, like this one is making the total Terraform to create a private key, and we need using this private key to generate the public key. So I also have the link to create a key pair, so it can create the public key for us. Let me walk through this one. Temple public key. Yeah, okay. Co-writing in other place. So in here I can using the TLS private key and from here, from this one, because we have the private key, so we can using the OpenSS format. To using this form, like we can generate the public key by using this format. So the key pair can be created, which is one private key and one public key. Then we can make them as a key pair and download it. So with this command, it will download our private key under our local computer. So we can using this private key to access our EC2 instance. So I think let me go back to the diagram, and maybe I can put another computer. So we making this diagram. So we will using we will download this key, which is private key, and this one is public key. So we're using the private key to access to the EC2 instance, and later I will create another key pair. This one is for our instance under the key pair for EC2 instance. See under public subnet, and I will create another key pair. So copy this one and change it to private subnet. So create another pair. I will walk through it. So the same, first create the private key and generate the public key, become the key pair, and download this private key. And later we need to send this private key into the let me go through. So first we have another key pair Terraform will create for us, and I will send to here, send to our EC2 instance under the public subnet, and using this one to access to here. Okay, I will demo it, maybe a little bit complicated. So then we can come back to our Terraform code. So after we create our key pair, we will start to create our EC2 instance. So before we create our EC2 instance, we need to check our image. So I will come back to our documentation. So using the data source to get our ANI, which is the ID of the image. ANI, yeah. So we can come here to read something, and I already write the code. So we can use in this way to filter. Like I need the AWS Linux image and the most region. So with this way, it can filter out the most region image and put in here. So we can use in the ID and our the process of create the EC2 instance. Then after that, we can create our EC2 instance. So I will create a EC2 instance and in our public subnet. I will copy our code and walk through what is this server. So I will call the public instance, and we will using the T2 micro, so which doesn't need to, if we are under the free tier, we don't need to pay. We can run we can always run one T2 micro instance, and if we are under the free tier, we are paying anything. But if we have two, we need to pay. And then here is our image. So the image is come from this one, and so is data, and AWS ANI, and the name, our name in here, and the ID, and we want to put under our public subnet and the ID of that subnet, then the key pair. So in here we're using this key public as subnet. So we mention the name in here, and here is our security group. The security group will be the AWS is this one. So we put this one and security group .sg.id. Yes, and name it. So maybe we can go to our documentation. And I forgot to put the link. Oh yeah. So in here we can see using resources, AWS instance, and the function name in here to create it. We can just, let me see, security group. Maybe we can check security group. Yeah, so it's the same. Security group. Then after that, we can create our create an EC2 instance in private subnet. Then I will copy my code. So here the function name will call the server private. The same using T2 micro and using the same image ID and the same subnet ID. We can use it different, but in here I just for demo, so make it a little bit easier. And the key pair will call the, let me minimal this one, already minimal this. So this one is under here, key private subnet. Yeah, so key private subnet, and here is, here is a subnet ID. I need to using the private subnet. So I put the private subnet and ID and make name as a private instance. So after that, we can try. We need to change to our SG. Hit enter and Terraform. int. So just waiting a while. During the same time, we can come to here. For the private subnet, we don't need to create a route table like the private, like the public subnet. When we create it, it will give us, it will by default create a table, like can communicate within the VPC. But this route table cannot go outside, cannot talk to the internet. Let me come back to see. So not finished yet. And in here we can come back to our. So first we go to our VPC. Now, because last time we create but we destroyed, so our VPC is only have one default. Yes, only one default. We will create another one, and after we create here will become 2, and the subnet we create another 2. One is for a private subnet, another one for public subnet. Let me go back to our. So now it's done. We can write Terraform print to see do we have any typo or any like bug under our Terraform code. So let it run it, and here the internet gateway only have one. It's a default one. We will create another one. So let me come back to see does it finish. Not yet. Let me take a look what we can review right now during the waiting. Like in here, we use, like before I mentioned, we're using a T2 micro. If we have if later maybe we have more requirement, then we can use in this instant type. We can Google this one. So come to here to check. But if we want more powerful computing, it will cost more. So we use a T2 micro, which is 1 vCPU T2 micro. Yeah, and let me count it. Okay, then you don't use. Okay, doesn't have anything wrong, so we can Terraform apply. So we can, before we run this one, we can come here to compare. So 1, 6, and under our EC2 place, EC2. Here's 0 because we still not say yes. Yeah, now it's 0 and what? There's 0 and 1, 6, 1, 1. And we come to here, we say yes. It will help us to create those resources. So we can come here and refresh. So become 2. Oh, do I create the think I forgot to create the private subnet or create, but why here doesn't show? Let me refresh. So this one, where is this? Let me double check. So it created. Do I save it? Oh shit! I forgot to save. Apply. Okay. Okay. Let me try. Try again, apply. Before I forgot to save the file, so it will using the previous one. Okay, so we can type yes and hit enter. Because the Terraform is declarative language, so we don't need to worry about that. So now it correct the public subnet and the private subnet, and we can come to the raw table. Yeah, so refresh. So come to here. Now our VPC and under our VPC. This one is by default it created for us, and this one is we created this subnet, and the subnet will connect to the internet gateway. But here is local, yeah. So we can come here to check, and maybe we also come to here to check. This one is local, but under this one is go to our internet gateway. Another one is local. So what is not under the code? We can come back to review it. So here we can see 000 will point to our internet gateway, and we can come to see the security group because we only create one security group. So and we refresh, there are 2 instances will be created. Oh, one. Save. Oh shit, public do not exist. Let me check. Maybe maybe I have some typo. Go back to here to check it mention our public one, and here submit key pair. Private public. Oh, I know the problem. I think now we can try again. So it better to using depend on. We need to depend on this one. Finish this one first, then execute this one. Otherwise, it will have an issue. Public creating complete. Yeah, so now it should be fine. We come to here, refresh. Okay, depending private. Okay. Okay, so now it, because we need to put the depend on under here, we want to we need to depend on our key finish. Yeah, this one. So we need to waiting for our key pair finish. Then we have the key pair assigned to here. Yes, and we can come to here to refresh. So now we can test how to SSH into our public instance. So I will come to here and copy this one and go back to our Visual Studio, and we already have a key in here, so we just pass. So hit enter and hit yes. So this one is our public instance, so we can ping. Yeah, so it can ping Google. Maybe we try to ping google.com, so it work. Then we can try to, like I said, we need to test. Like in here. We need to see our private instance. So in here there is no public IP assigned because it created under our private subnet, and the private subnet doesn't assign the public IP to the instance created under this subnet. Yeah. So how to access? We need to come to our bash, and maybe we can change it to our security, and we send our we need to send this private key into our public instance. So we can using SCP and the key to access to the public subnet instance, and transfer this file into our this one is incorrect, into our what is our public IP. We come to here to check. The public IP is here, and this one. So we just need to bash and delete this one and pass and hit enter. So this file will send to our public instance. So it send, we can come to here, maybe to list. So here, then under here we can read it 10.0.1.31. So how to access to our private? We can also come to here and copy this link, and here the IP is private IP address, it's not public. So come back to here, we can copy paste and hit enter. So yes. Oh, permission denied. We need to chmod 600 for our key. Hit enter and try again. So now you can compare. Here we are under the private instance. Then we can try to print a. It cannot print. Yeah. So this is what today I want to show how to create the security group, key pair, and EC2 instance, and also test the connection, and also test the private subnet and test the private subnet. So thank you.